God gives up his attributes of knowledge and keeps it locked, is he still knowledgeable?
Yes, no. When God gives that up, he has given up that aspect of omniscience.
Right. So at that point, when he has given up his knowledge and locked it somewhere inaccessible, that means he has no longer knowledge,
But he has
access to
come with
knowledge.
the attributes
One moment.
that Adam had before the fall.
Slow down, please. Let's talk about the attribute of love and knowledge. So God gives up, according to you, in your language, say he gives up in a box and he locks it with a key, right? So now his knowledge is locked up in that box. Is he still knowledgeable?
About what?
Anything.
Everything.
Anything. Because remember, his knowledge is now locked away. Is he still knowledgeable?
But where is he now when he's locked it up? Where is he?
You are the ones.
Yeah, no.
Sister, please.
You're refusing to say.
Okay, let me tell you.
Take it the next step. He has given
let
it
me
up
take you.
and taken
God the Father.
Tell me he has given it up and taken flesh.
I'm
Don't
telling
leave him hanging in limbo.
I'm telling you.
Given
I'm
up
telling you.
And taken flesh.
I'm telling you.
So ask me, as flesh,
The Father.
didn't stand in limbo.
The Father
Yes.
is in heaven, right?
The Father is in heaven.
Good. You believe he can separate his attributes from him and give it up. That's what you believe. Imagine now in heaven, for the sake of argument,
Stay it.
he gives up his attributes of knowledge, locks up with a key. Now, still in heaven. He's in heaven. His knowledge is locked up in a box. Is he still knowledgeable about anything?
Can I
Denise, in heaven, still in heaven.
I could answer that way.
You have your chance, don't worry.
Once he's giving
So,
up, there's a purpose for giving up.
Excuse
It's not
me.
for fun.
so
It's not for fun that he's giving it
no,
up.
please.
He's giving
When
up.
he gives up,
When
is he
I
still
am
knowledgeable?
blessed, it's because I'm going to put something on. Okay? So I have given it up for a purpose. And I put on flesh. So talk to me. He's not in heaven.
I am not discussing the purpose.
No,
I am
it
saying,
has a purpose.
of course, God doesn't do anything without a purpose.
Of course.
Good, that's the given thing.
Yes.
So now, when God, in your belief, locks up his knowledge in a box, is he still knowledgeable about anything?
But he takes a human form.
One moment.
No, you can't say one moment.
I want to.
refuse to go there.
Okay.
I absolutely
Is he still
refuse to go there.
knowledgeable when he locks up his knowledge?
When in the form of the flesh, no.
Not flesh. Now, who's talking about flesh?
Because that's what he took on.
No.
That's what he took
I'm
on.
not
You
talking
can't
about the
say
Son,
no.
Denise.
But that's who we're talking about.
Do you know the mistake you're making? Do you know the mistake you're making?
Me Philippians.
No, do you know the mistake you're making?
He said to God,
I am not talking about the Son
do
now.
not consider it robbery to give up.
Denise,
No,
please.
you cannot do
I am saying,
cannot do
I
that.
am saying, in your belief, if the Father
Yes.
locked up his knowledge in heaven and he remained in heaven, is the Father still knowledgeable?
He didn't remain in heaven though. So I can't answer that because he didn't remain in heaven.
Who am I talking about?
No, he didn't remain in heaven.
Okay, who am I
You can't
talking about?
put him there.
Excuse me, who am I talking about?
You're talking about Jesus.
No, I'm not.
We're
So let me clarify again
God
to you.
the Father.
I am talking about God the Father in your belief.
Okay.
If he's able to somehow separate himself from his attribute, so I take the attribute of knowledge and I'll take the attribute of love.
I'm listening to you.
He locks his attributes of knowledge in a box with a key and he has no access to the key, right? Is he still knowledgeable? His knowledge is locked in a key in heaven and he is in heaven. So is he still knowledgeable?
To do that.
Excuse me. You said
No, I said
you said
Jesus.
you said God is able
I
to
said Jesus.
separate himself from his attributes. Did you not
I
say
said
that?
Jesus.
No. Jesus is
I
God.
said Jesus.
Excuse me.
And I said 3 in 1. And I said Jesus because he said.
Do you think you can answer that question?
Philippians.
Let me
Answer it. Answer it.
Let's see if you can answer that.
Okay, so the point is you have to think the knowledge of God and the power of God.
I'm talking knowledge
But
only.
you know,
Yes,
you
but
talk about
it's gonna be
I'm
similar. As I said, there's something about the logical contradiction when you talk about the knowledge of God and the power of God. Okay, so God, in fact, as I explained when we started, Jesus is the manifestation of God in the finite. Okay, so that's why we said he limited himself in the finite. Okay, and I explained to you why, based on the time, why Jesus could not know the time because it would be a logical contradiction. So saying that God's knowledge is stopped to exist, no, his knowledge is always there. It's a question of logical contradiction. For example, there is I'm sure you know that some people can say, can God create a stone so heavy that it cannot lift?
It's not a question.
What is it?
It's a nonsensical statement.
Exactly. So
I asked you a question. I didn't ask you a nonsensical statement. That's the difference. So answer my question,
Now
please.
the point is, can God know, since we're talking about knowledge, can God know how it feels to be the devil?
I didn't ask you that question. Answer my question first.
You know why you cannot answer that? Because
I'm not entertaining your listen.
contradiction.
Again and again. Instead of
logical.
Okay. Let me answer this so-called question you asked. Can God? Ask me again. Can God feel
how it feels to be Satan?
Sure. So Satan has some kind of feeling, right? How is Satan? Right. So God, are you saying in his knowledge, he doesn't know how it feels to be Satan?
No, I'm asking you a question and you bring me back.
That's what you're asking, right?
Answer my question.
Can God know? So when you say know or feel, which one?
Can God know how it feels to be Satan?
Right. So if God is the creator of all feelings, then yes, of course he knows.
How can he know how it feels to be Satan?
Because he created Satan's and he knows how Satan. Listen, because he created Satan, he knows all the feelings because he's the creator of all feelings. So how Satan goes about in his feelings, he's aware of it.
So God has already been Satan to feel.
No.
That's what you're telling
Listen,
me.
what I'm saying is this: God doesn't have to become an elephant to know how elephants feel. God has created feelings, all feelings, and he was aware of all of them. So whether how Satan feels or human beings feel.
Can it be Satan? Can God be Satan?
Oh, different question. Now, can God be Satan, right? What is Satan? A creation. So now you're asking a totally nonsensical question.
Can it become nonsensical?
Let me ask you. Can God become non-God? The answer is...
So how can it feel? How can you know how to feel? How it feels to be Satan?
Wait.
Don't be finished.
Wait a minute. What's your name? What's your name? Raphael.
How can you know how it feels to be Satan?
I just told you.
He has never been Satan.
I just told you. Okay. Let me make it simple. Does God know how it feels to be human without becoming human?
In Jesus Christ, yes.
Okay. Can God know how it, in your belief, does God know how it feels to be a woman without becoming a woman?
Listen,
no, I'm not going to listen to anything else.
You have to listen how I answer
Raphael,
I already
does,
this.
in your belief, does God know how it feels to be a woman?
Are you going to let me answer?
Yes.
Are you going to let me answer?
Yeah.
Okay. When God created things, he relinquished some of his power. He relinquished it by creating us. Let's say the question that he asked, by creating us.
You're answering my question, right?
I'm answering your question,
Good.
so you have to listen carefully.
Okay.
By creating us, he relinquished some of his power. Right now, God said, Satan is doing that. I can no longer do that because I am not Satan. So that's how God is relinquishing some of his power by creation. So he relinquished, and that's what Philippians is saying. Okay? So God, since it's like you telling me, can God knows how to feel to be Satan or to cease to exist? These are questions that become illogical based on what God created as his universe is no longer possible. So that's why I told you, God cannot know how it feels to be Satan unless he decides to be Satan. So that's how you answer that question, because it is not a logical question. It is an illogical question. You understand what I mean? So
Enough introduction, now answer the question.
I already answered your question.
Because
there are certain times I leave the discussion with individuals who are really using just semantics. I asked you, which question did I ask? That you answered now, within 2 minutes or so?
You are supposed to answer my question.
No. The question that I asked that you are answering, what was the question that you answered? Raphael, what was the, he's already given you a reminder. What was the question that I asked that you answered?
Okay, can you repeat your question?
Have you forgotten the question already?
In fact, it's a question of God knowledge. Okay, and what I was telling you is that God knowledge, in terms of Jesus Christ, in terms of a human being, in terms of the manifested things, God knowledge is limited because he has to be that manifested being. Okay.
One moment, brother. Raphael, the question I asked you was this. In your belief, does God know how it feels to be a woman?
God doesn't know how to feel. He has to be a woman.
Okay, so only God knows how it feels. So basically, how the woman feels going through childbirth, pregnancy.
Okay.
Well, let me finish.
Okay, finish. And
Let me
I know
finish.
what you're talking about. Finish first.
So all the sufferings that women goes through, rape, for example, the torture they're suffering through, in your belief, God doesn't know the feeling that the woman's going through because He is not. He's never become a woman.
Can I answer now? Okay.
There's no need to answer. You've already answered it.
Yeah, that's what I was trying. My sister, that's what I was trying to answer using the manifested word. Because God, by creation, relinquished some of His attributes. That by default. You need to be. So let's say I can know what women feel. Woman feels.
You're not a woman, so you can't know.
I can think about it. I will never be able to know exactly unless I become a woman. I will never be able to know exactly.
So God doesn't know unless He becomes a woman.
God knows everything.
So God doesn't know unless He becomes a woman.
That's what I'm saying. There are
You don't know
things-
everything. He knows
there are
everything.
certain
Good.
things
So
that
it's very clear from our Christian friend Raphael.
Knowledge,
So
in terms of power.
Raphael, as I've understood
That's
now.
what I'm trying to put it through.
Let me.
Certain things are
No, I've understood.
contradiction in terms of
No,
knowledge
Raphael,
and in terms of power.
I've understood now.
Okay.
So God, in fact, doesn't know most of the things because He hasn't become those things. So, like for example, how an ant feels when it's squashed, God has no knowledge about it. How a woman goes through the torture of rape, right. Wait. So, excuse me, please. In your belief, God doesn't know how it feels to be tortured, maimed, killed, raped. God doesn't mean how it, insulted as well. Wait. Can I finish? As you said clearly, because God has never become for example, a tree. He doesn't know how it feels when the tree's leaf is plucked. He has no understanding of it. He has no knowledge of it because the question is about knowledge. So, in fact, you're giving me a very interesting picture of a God where God is not even knowledgeable about anything, right? In our belief, God, in our belief. No. Before we go into this, because the discussion was about the very nature of brother. Please.
God has to be correct.
Let him have a word. Let him have a word. What are you saying? Everybody has a turn. What are you saying?
He knows.
No, he was there for a
So,
long time.
Christ, in your belief, was God to begin with, but somehow He limited Himself. When we ask, what do you mean by limiting Himself? You go into all these tangents about other possible worlds and so on, right? When I ask, how can the all-knowledgeable... I'm summarizing some points, because I'm going to end this discussion in maybe even 5 minutes maximum. You're saying, in your belief, God can become non-God and still be God. God can be infinite to begin with, become finite, and still remain infinite. Let me ask you.
Did I say that? Did I say that?
Let me clarify. Let me clarify.
You did say that.
Did
you see what I said?
During
that for the sound.
Hang on.
You are doing that for the sound.
Take the camera away and have our discussion. Sit down. Yeah. You see, really think I do it for a soundbite?
No, but don't say what I didn't say.
No.
Did I say that?
What you believe? Correct me if I'm wrong.
What I say on
Excuse me.
camera.
One moment.
Right? Unless
Correct
you're gonna
me.
edit it,
I'm
what I say on
summarizing.
camera. Don't say what I didn't say.
Raphael, you know what summary is?
But don't say what I didn't
Do you know
say.
what summary?
Summarize what I said.
Okay.
Not what
Correct me
I
then.
didn't say, right?
Do you believe the eternally knowledgeable Son of God, who is God in His perfection, became less with His divine attributes and took a human flesh of something like ignorance, weakness, and yet still remained perfect?
Can I answer that?
No, not answering it. Is that correct?
You don't want me to answer?
No, is that correct in my summary? No, is this correct? Is my summary correct?
Did I answer that question? How Jesus?
Did you hear my summary? Is my summary correct or incorrect?
Could say wrong, yes. Okay.
Can you answer that first and then move on?
I answered this in the beginning. Maybe you forgot that.
Can you first say, is my summary correct or wrong?
It's incorrect.
Okay. Now tell us again in summary, why is it incorrect?
Okay. It depends on how you understand God, and I come back. God is an infinite reality God. And this infinite reality God is manifested in a finite in Jesus Christ. Okay, it manifests in the finite. So by manifesting Himself in the finite is a limitation, because He's manifesting in a assumed 4-dimension reality. So He's limiting Himself by that.
That's what I said.
Okay, so do you understand?
So far, my summary is correct so far. Carry on.
Okay, so now he limited himself in Jesus as a man in flesh. So that's what we are talking about. So everything you're going to say has to be within that context. So the infinite reality God manifested in a finite through Jesus. And I gave the idea of projection in 4 dimensions.
So the infinite God, when he was manifested in a created thing, like a created body, was he still infinite?
When he was
God
manifested.
is, Jesus wasn't.
When the infinite occupied,
I know,
Raphael.
I know clearly.
Jesus.
Raphael, when the infinite occupied a finite body, was it still infinite?
Jesus occupied.
He's infinite outside. He's as I said, can I show you the definition of persona?
Wait, slow. No. I'm not going interested in your personas. I asked you this
That's
question.
what we say.
You are saying
Why are you not saying Jesus?
That God
Why are you
became
not
Jesus.
saying
because Jesus is a worshipper of God and you've made him into a God. That's why we're discussing this. You are insulting.
Question. Let me answer that.
Before you answer, do you know my question?
You are talking about.
Do you know my question
You said
is?
the infinite God becoming stop being infinite.
No, I said
manifesting in earth.
when, in your belief, when the infinite incarnated into a finite body, was it still infinite?
He's still infinite God out of. That's what I say. You have to make the distinction between this infinite God out of creation and his manifestation in creation. His manifestation in creation is finite. That's what I'm telling you. So that's what he said. A persona.
God and there's Jesus.
A persona is the aspect
1 or
of
2 more minutes,
someone's
finish,
character that is presented or perceived by others.
That's what we're talking about.
The aspect of someone's character that is presented or perceived by others. So that's what I was telling you. This infinite God manifested
in a human body
is like projecting his aspects, some of his aspects,
What
in the
aspects?
finite. That's what we call the world.
No. The infinite, when he projects into a finite body, his infinite knowledge is in there or not?
His infinite knowledge in the body, in the finite on earth. That
What happened to his
would be a
infinite knowledge?
logical contradiction.
So where is his infinite knowledge now? Where is it?
He's still in an infinite.
But when the Son of God came down, was he still in heaven?
You just said the Son of God came down, and you're asking if he's in heaven.
Excuse me.
No, he's God still.
I'm asking you to clarify. So now you have the divine Son, he's not up there, he's here. So when he's here in a human body, so he possessed the infinite knowledge within the human body, right?
Just answer that question. It would be a logical contradiction if Jesus said that he knows the hour,
You're
because
not
this
making
hour
any sense.
is out of
What
time.
I am saying,
It is
listen,
infinite.
Raphael,
It is infinite.
Raphael, listen.
I
The
explained
divine,
20 minutes
excuse
before.
me, you're not listening.
20 minutes before
Listen,
I
I
explained
think you think I'm not listening, but I'm quite
Are you
positive
sure
you're not
listen?
listening.
Okay, what did I say 20 minutes before?
Listen what I'm
before you
saying,
got
listen what I'm
on?
saying.
No, what did I say 20 minutes before?
Excuse me, please, listen.
What did I say 20
Please. I asked for a clarification. Did the divine Son come to this earth?
Yes.
The answer is?
Yeah, it's
Good.
Yes.
So the divine Son is no longer up there, it's on here. When the divine Son is here on earth, at the time when there was a human Jesus, was the divine knowledge present within the vicinity
The divine knowledge
of the Son?
of the Son.
Yeah.
The divine knowledge, when you say the divine knowledge, you need to make the distinction between the divine knowledge of the infinite reality God or the knowledge of Jesus, the
Not the human, not the human.
The manifestation in the finite.
Not the human. Remember,
We make the distinction.
Look,
It's
look.
very important for you to make the distinction.
did you
between
even
the
did
infinite
you even follow my
and
question through?
manifesting.
Did you even follow my question
Your
through?
question has 2 aspects. You want me to say that the infinite reality God knowledge is in Jesus,
No.
but I already
No.
explained that.
No, you misunderstood.
trying to
No, I
twist the
misunderstood.
question to
So
make
I'm gonna now ask everyone to
explain
listen.
that.
No, you've misunderstood altogether.
Go ahead.
The human body, is it eternal or a created of Jesus?
The what?
The body that Jesus Christ, the human, possessed. Is this a created thing or uncreated? Good. A created thing is there 2,000 years ago roughly on this earth. When the divine Son, in your belief, incarnates, meaning he comes down and incarnates within this created body, obviously my question to you is this: the divine Son is all knowledgeable. He's not up there, he's now here. What happened to the knowledge of the divine Son within the vicinity of the human body?
So
You
it's a
don't decide equal. You gave it up with God.
My
So
sister,
you're
my
going around.
sister, but let me answer, because when you stop to start speaking, you just contribute to.
You know what? He used the word vicinity,
Okay.
not within the
Let me-
flesh.
I already answered that, but you want clarification, okay?
Okay.
I said
Answer, but I want someone else to see whether this question is
the
answered.
infinite reality God is manifesting His persona on earth in the finite. His persona is a projection in the finite.
What do you mean? I don't understand anything about that. The infinite comes down or not?
Is a projection.
So he doesn't come down.
Imagine,
So now you're retracting.
No. That's what Christians have always
So
been
why
saying.
did you then say yes, he
The
came down?
person of God. That's what we say.
Wait,
When we say the
look,
person of God,
I would like you to be
do you understand?
using
what I'm
words
saying?
which you believe, not what I believe.
But what Christian says what?
What you believe.
When
So
we say what?
did the Father send the Son?
These are his person, his persona.
Excuse me.
He sent
Did
his
the
son.
Father send the Son?
His persona.
Excuse me. Let me ask you the
Yes.
question again.
Yes.
Right. And what is
The
the nature of
apostolic-
descending?
Huh?
What is the nature of descending?
The nature.
Of descending. The Father sends the Son because the Father says, I have been sent by the Father. Sorry, the Son says,